and should have more details soon. Also breaking this morning, the Supreme Court has invalidated most of the tariffs President Trump has imposed since taking office last year. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has the latest now from Washington.
It was a 6-3 ruling written by the Chief Justice. John Roberts says the president has asserted an extraordinary power to unilaterally impose tariffs. But he says to do it, the president must identify clear congressional authorization. And Roberts points out no president has ever relied on the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose tariffs. He says the law Trump has leaned on does not authorize him to do it.
The three dissenting judges say this decision could be messy and the process of returning billions of dollars could be a big deal. A Utah senator is calling out Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem for her response after a fatal shooting in Minneapolis, saying she has lost trust. Senator John Curtis spoke with reporters at Utah's Capitol yesterday and had more to say on Noem's response to the fatal shooting of Alex Preddy, where she said Preddy had been committing an act of domestic terrorism, while video evidence showed he held a phone and not a gun.
I think it will forever undermine trust that she has with the American people.
Senator Curtis has previously called Noem's response premature and has joined in calls for an independent investigation, but stopped short of saying she should be removed, saying that would be up to President Trump. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 100 points now. That's 0.2%. We're at 49,486. Coming up, flurries are moving out today, sunshine moving in. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time 9:02. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
A family office is a team built to handle the three biggest financial responsibilities a family faces: wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning. Most firms only manage your investments and refer the rest out, hoping everyone stays aligned. At Trajan, we built something different. Your wealth, tax planning, and estate planning are handled together inside one firm under one roof. There's no guessing whether your CPA, advisor, and estate attorney are truly in sync, because our team works together every day on your behalf. When your financial life becomes more complex, your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
We'll admit, we've already thrown in the towel on the New Year's resolution.
Yeah, and we made it through dry January. But one healthy new habit we're sticking with is Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to help protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Yup, more energy and the peace of mind knowing we can enjoy the good things in life while giving our liver the love it needs.
Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com. Or you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. Did you know that we offer 3 distinct styles of gutter protection? Each one meant to handle a specific leaf problem. You might not even know there are different styles of gutter protection, but there are. And if you pick the wrong one, it could be a huge waste of money. Now, the big gutter guard companies won't tell you this. They try to sell you a one-size-fits-all gutter guard. And it could be completely wrong for the amount and types of trees and leaves you have. Not RGS Exteriors. We understand which kind of leaf problem needs which kind of gutter guard. We'll do an in-depth evaluation to assess the types, locations, and numbers of trees in your yard. Based on that data, we match your home to the right gutter guard. So don't risk wasting money on the wrong gutter protection. For a free evaluation and estimate, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's 801-280-3110 or rgsexteriors.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.44% on savings at UCCU.com. And here's Jason Jones.
Amanda, we have a new accident. This is going to be at the intersection of Hinckley Drive and Midland Drive up in the West Haven area. Now, it's bad enough that they've closed all of the eastbound lanes there, but you can kind of, I've seen cars kind of going around the accident and the whole closure and continuing on eastbound. So I guess technically you can do that, although you're making the cars that are headed westbound kind of wait for you, and it doesn't work out real great. Your best bet is probably to find an alternate route if you can around that, because it looks like it's going to be a mess there for at least a little while. Northbound on State Street at 5600 South in Murray, we still see this accident that's blocking the left lane, but that's pretty much your only trouble spots other than Wasatch Boulevard and Little Cottonwood Road, which continue to be backed up trying to get into Little Cottonwood Canyon. Use Superior Water and Air for all your HVAC and water treatment needs. Call 974-9090 or visit superiorwaterandair.com. Superior Water and Air, we got this. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
Snow is moving out today, sun moving in. This weekend will warm up to the 40s. Today's high will be 36, but by Monday, 54. Right now, it's 28 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, we got word this morning, just before our show started, Holly, that the Supreme Court of the United States has invalidated most of President Trump's tariffs that he imposed, if you recall, in that what did he call it, the big meeting on April 2nd, where he imposed all these tariffs. And anyway, ABC News national correspondent Steve Portnoy has the latest from Washington.
It was a 6-3 ruling written by the Chief Justice. John Roberts says the president has asserted an extraordinary power to unilaterally impose tariffs, but he says to do it, the president must identify clear congressional authorization. And Roberts points out no president has ever relied on the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose tariffs. He says the law Trump has leaned on does not authorize him to do it.
So it was Liberation Day that I was thinking of, April 2nd, where Trump held up the poster of all the countries that he was going to impose tariffs on, and that's gone back and forth. But the Supreme Court said that his tariffs are illegal. And what he did, Holly, he used what he called, and Portnoy just mentioned this, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, which has historically been used for national emergencies. For example, when we're at war with a country or having serious issues with another country, we can impose sanctions like freezing their assets, not necessarily imposing tariffs. So what they said was, look, if it's a tariff, it's a tax. And the Constitution provides that Congress has the ability to tax and impose taxes. So if it's a tariff or it's another word for a tax, it should have been done by Congress, and that what the president did was illegal.
So it's interesting, right, that he used these emergency powers, and this is a ruling that we've been waiting for quite some time. We thought that the Supreme Court had a decision, but it took a while for them to release it. But there's a couple of questions, like if there's going to be refunds on these tariffs, who gets them? Well, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the consumer, right? It's not. Sorry, guys, not going to be the consumer. But I want to note this. I was looking at the New York Times, and they have a couple of things in there. They said that they had already begun to look at how to reimpose the tariffs, but without using that emergency powers law. So the top trade negotiator Jamison Greer said last month the administration would move quickly to replace any emergency tariffs with other levies. And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that they could be replicated with tariff measures included in the 1962 Trade Act, although he also said that the administration, the tariff authorities the administration had tried to use actually gave Trump more negotiating leverage. So I think that's what you'll see. I mean, I'm seeing on some of the news stations that we're watching, the reaction immediately is those outrageous Supreme Court justices, right?
Trump's calling them a disgrace. He could also do the right thing and go through Congress and say, look, will you do something to balance this trade deficit? We also have a question about what happens to the $175 billion that have been collected so far. And in a ABC News chief correspondent, Mary Bruce, explained that.
He has argued that these tariffs have brought great wealth and national security to the country. The government has collected at least $89 billion in revenue from these tariffs. They could now be asked to refund all of that. There is a lot of questions about what happens to the money that has been collected so far and what happens to the deals that the president has been negotiating.
Yeah, I mean, a lot is to be done. She said $89 million. I was reading another article that said that the International Emergency Powers Act has so far gained more than $175 billion. So, and one of the articles I'm looking at says that money will have to be refunded. But again, who does it get refunded to? And I spoke earlier on the Andy and Amanda's show about the fact that I thought that the money would be refunded to the countries that were sending us products because they suffered that, but they didn't. It's sort of the importer. It's also ultimately it's the consumer that paid the money.
Yeah,
that
that's
paid
right.
The additional.
And more than 90%. And that was a study that just came out recently that more than 90% of the tariff amount had been paid by U.S. consumers. Of course, you're right. The companies that brought that in also paid some, but it's also interesting that if you're trying to pivot immediately and use a different legal theory for why the president can impose tariffs, then maybe my suspicion is they're going to try to not give it back in any way.
Yeah, and maybe that's a secondary issue because what about tariffs moving forward? I mean, Trump certainly has some reason to have tariffs. He feels like there's a huge trade deficit. He's trying to do something about it, and imposing these tariffs was to encourage Americans to buy American products because otherwise they're subject to these tariffs. But it wasn't the right way to go about it. And the Supreme Court, I mean, he can be as upset as he wants, but it's a very Trump-friendly Supreme Court right now.
It's a very Trump-friendly court.
And there were 3 justices that ruled against the majority. Those were the 3 that you might expect: Clarence Thomas, Alito, and Brett Kavanaugh. So the 3 most conservative justices, but 2 of the what we consider conservative justices sided with what we think of as the more liberals.
So I wanted to speak a little bit about the trade deficit because that is supposedly why these tariffs were imposed. But there's new stuff that came out this week that said the U.S. trade deficit barely budged in 2025 despite the tariffs. It's still something almost $1 trillion, $900 billion.
That's because people are just passing it along. It's not doing what it's intended to do, I think. I mean, we'll talk to smarter people later on in the show, but I think a lot of people would like more of a free market, and let's make a deal. Let's do what's best for the American consumer. And Americans do consume more than they export. Let's face it. We're never going to have an equal trade between us and most countries.
And if you remember, too, the president has been using tariffs as a weapon to punish countries that he disagrees with. So even Canada is saying they're not holding their breath. They appreciate the ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court, but it has been so volatile with, I'm going to impose 10%, and then it's going to be a lot more, and then less, and then it's going to be back to more again because I don't like what you said over here, right? I mean, that part is really causes some economic uncertainty, right?
You would have expected a response from Canada and the European Union to be excitement, but you're right. Looking at this, they're all saying, well, we'll hold our breath. We'll see what happens next. This is a positive thing, but there's obviously something else is coming down the pike. So we'll see what Trump does next. I'm sure he's got a counterpunch lined up. What that looks like and what it means, I don't know. But I don't think he's just going to leave it alone.
We're going to talk with the professor of economics, Michael Kofed, when we come back after this coming break. So just stay with us for more information on tariffs.
This weekly tax tip is brought to you by the Utah Association of Certified Public Accountants. Here's CEO Susan Spears.
If you're 65 years or older, there's a new tax break heading your way for the 2026 filing season. It's called the Senior Bonus Deduction. Seniors will get an extra $6,000 deduction on top of the standard deduction. If you're married and you're both 65 plus, that's a $12,000 bonus off your taxable income. So let's do the math. A single senior gets to take the standard deduction of $15,750, the existing age bump of $2,000, and the new senior bonus of $6,000. That's almost $24,000 of income the IRS cannot touch. However, there are income phase-outs.
Get the most out of your income tax preparation when you hire a licensed CPA. Visit uacpa.org to find a CPA that's right for you. And check out new tax tip videos by following on social media at Talk to Your CPA.
There's something about this time of year when it's easy to get the blahs. The holidays are in the rearview mirror. Even Valentine's Day is in the rearview mirror. It's time to put a little sparkle in your life, and that's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. And here along the Wasatch Front, we have 2 locations. Hotel Park City. If you're up enjoying a day of skiing, wrap up that day with a delicious meal at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. And then, of course, there are great fun activities that are happening in downtown Salt Lake City, sporting events, movies, you name it. And again, right there at 275 Southwest Temple, there's a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse waiting for you. The food is prepared perfectly and delivered on that 500-degree sizzling plate. Whether it's a steak, poultry dish, seafood, everything cooked to your expectations at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. And the side dishes and the desserts, they are simply legendary. Downtown Salt Lake City and Hotel Park City, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section and after Dad's back injury. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Trouble with opioids can start at home with unused medicines such as pills, patches, and syrups. You can remove the risk and protect your family. Find out how at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Amy Cox did something smart. She saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. And with that money, she decided to treat herself to an anti-aging red light mask. Will she look like a horror movie villain every night? Yes. Will her boyfriend Kevin be scarred for life? That's certainly a risk. But it's Amy's savings, and if she's willing to risk her relationship for smooth, wrinkle-free skin, well, bye-bye, Kevin. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
My name is Ariel. When I arrived in the U.S. at 19, I struggled to find job opportunities without my high school diploma. My entire life changed when I took a chance and got my high school diploma at age 22. Everything I have, my education, my career, my marriage, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and my teachers. They were with me every step of the way, helping with my English and math, making sure I pushed through all the challenges.
Ariel, your success proves that what I'm doing as a teacher has real meaning.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
Education was the key that unlocked all my opportunities.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
We have been keeping an eye on reports of a fire at Murray High School this morning. Emergency crews did respond. The fire started in the school's woodshop room. It was unclear how far it spread, but students and staff have been evacuated. So we're going to keep an eye on that for you as we continue going. We do have reporters down on the scene.
Yeah, and that just happened within the last half an hour. But we are going to go back to the latest decision from the United States Supreme Court, which struck down most of President Donald Trump's tariffs, leaving some questions about what happens to the billions of dollars collected, and there have been over $100 billion. ABC's Elizabeth Schultz discusses that.
One thing to keep in mind there is that while some businesses might get money back, that doesn't necessarily mean consumers will. Consumers who have paid higher prices for goods that have been passed down because of those tariffs have already been paying, according to the Yale Budget Lab, $1,700 in tariffs. Unlikely that goes right back into consumers' pockets.
Yeah, it's unlikely. I think that's an understatement. Okay, so we're joined by Michael S. Kofod. He's an assistant professor of economics at the University of Tennessee and a research fellow at the Institute of Labor Economics. And we've turned to him a number of times on this tariff issue. So thanks for joining us, Dr. Kofod.
Hey, thanks, Holly and Greg, for having me on again.
I have a very quick question at first. So we have a texter who said, what about the industries within the United States that were forced to build here so they didn't have to pay the tariffs? Are they going to be impacted by this decision?
Yeah, most likely. So this is the classic trade-off of tariffs. Is sometimes we'll institute tariffs because we want to help out a domestic producer, or we claim we want to reshore a job. But that trade-off means that there's higher prices for both the retailer that takes in these higher-priced goods or costly goods, and also that price goes on to the consumer. So one way that we try to carrot the folks to be able to come back to the United States is we're like, hey, if you'll make a large capital investment, build a brand new plant here, then you don't have to pay these tariffs. But that's extremely costly. And given that this policy was not passed by Congress, it was not set in stone, and it had really no legal binding, it turns out. And so that's going to inject a lot of uncertainty here in the short term for those folks.
So some economists have said that the tariffs have raised about $175 billion, and some are slightly less than that. Would there be, Professor Kofod, some repayment or restitution? And if so, how does that look?
Yeah, that's going to be the tough part. So I finally got a copy of the case because the Supreme Court website was down with it being so many people logging on. The majority does not say what the remedy is. The dissent says that there's concern about how do we actually calculate this refund. One way would be to split that up, but then the question of tariffs is, who does that go to? Does that go to the firm that paid, the American firm that paid the tariff at the point of entry? Or does that go to the consumer who that American firm then passed that excess price onto? Something that we sometimes call an implicit tax, meaning that I actually don't see a tax on a line item on my receipt that says tariff, but the fact that the price of the final good and service goes up, I essentially am paying the tax as that consumer. So how they split this up and make legal remedy to those harmed, that's going to be a really interesting and difficult question going forward.
So one of the things that I said in the last segment is that I was reading in the New York Times that Secretary of the Treasury, Bessent, has said, well, basically we're going to pivot and we're going to use a different legal framework to say we're going to impose the very same tariffs. Would that in some way shortcut the refunding of these tariffs?
You know, I'm looking at this majority opinion, and it is broad enough, and Greg is the legal beagle, not me, but reading it through, they are making a very clear case that tariffs have to come from the Article I power, which is Congress. And I think what the court is trying to do here is say, no, the tariffs cannot be a workaround from the White House. It needs to go back to Congress because that is where the Constitution has vested this power.
Right, and I think what they're saying, you're exactly right, Michael. That is, Congress has power to tax, and most people consider a tariff as a tax. And so if you look at it that way, and I'm very much oversimplifying it, it is a congressional act. However, the president used this International Emergency Economic Powers Act, which the Supreme Court said really doesn't apply because that's for something much more extreme, like freezing another country's assets when you're on the brink of war or having some what we would consider much more of an emergency than just the trade deficit as an emergency. So I'm sort of being rhetorical here, but where do we go from here? Do you think that Congress is going to jump in, or do you think the administration is going to do something like Holly's talking about, an end run, and still do something akin to tariffs?
Yeah, and that IEEPA is a very interesting case because many times we use tariffs in national security. We call them sanctions instead of calling them tariffs at that point. And it's important to have a clear strategy and a clear off-ramp. If I sanction country X, they have to act this thing for us to get back to normalcy. I think you're going to see the White House try to do something because they've staked so much of their domestic policy on these tariffs. I don't think they're going to get very far legally given this case. And then what I think is this is going to now rest on House leadership to figure out going into the midterms. Because what we've been seeing is the White House claiming tariffs don't harm consumers, but then over on the House side saying, well, maybe we can do like a refund check or something, which is implicitly saying that tariffs harm consumers. And so we have this kind of discoherent message on the political side.
So we're seeing news stories, of course, that President Trump is calling the ruling a disgrace. I mean, what do you do? Can he fire a Supreme Court justice? He could try.
I'm grateful that our founders, in their vision, have 3 separate branches of government that balance each other and have checks and balances. And what we are seeing is a fantastic civics and economics lesson.
Absolutely agree with that.
I have another quick question. And you had mentioned sanctions, and that was something that it felt like these tariffs were not imposed. They certainly were imposed, I think, in a way that made sense across the board, because there was a lot of back and forth, I guess, with the president saying, okay, well, you said something I didn't like, so I'm upping your tariffs. And you agreed to do this, and so I'm going to lower your tariffs. How does this uncertainty play into the fallout, I guess, from this decision?
Yeah, I mean, if I am a business and I'm looking to expand, like you mentioned, the texter asking about reshoring, those are going to be 10 to 15-year capital outlays. Do I build a new factory? Do I issue bonds to finance that factory? And if I have tariffs going up and down because Ontario posts a video that the White House doesn't like on a given day, there is no way that I can be able to make those plans enough to expand that factory and create the jobs. And so what you've seen in the labor market is essentially a freezing of a no hire, no fire, because all of our domestic companies don't know if tomorrow the tariffs will change. And this is why, again, our founders gave this policy to Congress so that Congress could take its time, be deliberative, and then have permanence when it passes something.
Yeah, you're right. And we're looking at some of the response from other countries, including the European Union, the Canadian government, and they're all saying not much. I mean, there's sort of some tepid support for what the Supreme Court did, but it almost seems like, Michael, that people are just sitting back going, okay, what's going to happen next, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it'll probably, in the short run, there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. It'll probably get pushed down to lower courts, and they're going to have to sort this all out. In the long run, it will inject more certainty. So I would be interested in the next coming weeks to look at, for example, 30-year bond rates, because that's a prediction of what the economy should look like in the long term. And so I think it's going to be a bit of a roller coaster now and then a bit of a smoothing a year or so now.
Can I ask you one really quick question, because we only have about 30 seconds left, but we have another question from a texter, and they want to know, do the tariffs stop immediately? Like today, will they stop being collected?
Reading this case, it looks like it. I mean, it says that it is so ordered at the end. That would be my guess.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, well, thanks, Michael. It's going to be interesting when Trump gives his State of the Union address Tuesday night, what this Chief Justice of the Supreme Court is going to be looking at or hearing, or maybe he won't attend.
Maybe.
When we come back, a woman arrested at the Salt Lake Airport in October last year has been deported with an active appeal pending. We'll speak with her attorney after the break and get an understanding for what exactly happened on that. Stay with us.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour is a developing one. Classes at Murray High School are out for the day after a fire broke out near the wood shop. The Murray School District has confirmed the fire is out. Students were quickly evacuated after the smoke was first spotted. We are currently waiting to learn more. Stay with KSL News Radio for updates. Avalanche danger is high across the state, and experts are saying to stay out of the backcountry for now. Utah Avalanche Center forecaster Craig Gordon says the month of dry weather before our last storm created a fragile snow base, and that base will easily crumble under the weight of the new heavy snow.
Any backcountry avalanche we trigger is going to break deep, it's going to break wide, it's going to have devastating consequences.
He says if you're going to the backcountry this weekend, stick to wide, flat terrain, and skiers should stay inbounds at the resorts. The snowstorm is mostly gone here in northern Utah, but the storm is still causing big problems around Cedar City this morning. The Iron County School District is canceling classes for the day due to snow and icy road conditions. Our top national story this hour, the Supreme Court struck down most of President Donald Trump's tariffs, leaving some looming questions on what happens to the billions of dollars collected in the last year. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze.
One thing to keep in mind there is that while some businesses might get money back, that doesn't necessarily mean consumers will. Consumers who have paid higher prices for goods that have been passed down because of those tariffs have already been paying, according to the Yale Budget Lab, $1,700 in tariffs. Unlikely that goes right back into consumers' pockets.
The Yale Budget Lab says the government has collected upwards of $140 billion. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 22 points. Now we're at 49,372. Coming up, the snow is moving out and the sunshine is moving in. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time 9:32. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
When Team USA is on, you can almost see the moment a kid starts believing they could be next. Now, while Xfinity can't guarantee that, they can guarantee something just as important, that your internet price won't change for 5 years. No contracts or commitments. So while your kid is ordering gear online, streaming highlight reels, or video chatting, your Xfinity internet price won't budge. And who knows, by the time the next Olympic Winter Games roll around, your kid could be getting fitted for their very own Team USA uniform. And guess what? You'll still be paying the same price for reliable Wi-Fi. And there's even more to enjoy with the Xfinity Gold Medal Celebration. Now through February 22nd, get their best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed. Just $50 a month, plus get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That's a $10.99 monthly value. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary.
Hi, Flo here to say that Progressive knows that life can change quickly, so it's good to have flexible coverage.
Oh, like when I have to take my ex off my policy.
Oh, sorry. But yes, we can do that.
And can you send them a message and tell them that they have trust issues that they need to work on?
We don't really get in the middle of these conflicts.
Also, can you let them know that I was faking interest in his band and it's probably time to grow up?
I'm not going to do it. Just know that with Progressive, you can easily make changes to your auto insurance because we know life changes.
Also, I'm staying in touch with his mom because she's absolutely lovely.
Bad idea.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-230-2777.
The company you work for just froze your pension. Now what? Should you take the lump sum or monthly payments? What happens to your spouse if something happens to you? And how does this impact your Social Security benefits? If you're like most people, you have more questions than answers. But here's the bigger problem right now. If you make a wrong decision here, it could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in retirement. That's why you need to know all of your options, so you can make the right decision for you and your family. Boss Retirement Solutions, right here in Utah, offers a free, comprehensive pension review for individuals with $300,000 or more in retirement savings. Call 801-896-9622 for your free analysis now. That's 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Direct deposit gets you $300. Love where you bank. And here's Jason Jones.
Amanda, we have an accident in southbound I-15. It looks like it's about 80th south and was in the middle lanes, but they moved it over to the right shoulder now, so it's mostly cleared out. We do have some leftover delays, though, if you're headed southbound I-15 at this point. Otherwise, the rest of the commute is looking pretty good. This accident that we had at Midland Drive and Hinckley Drive, they had actually closed both east and westbound lanes on Hinckley Drive, but they've reopened those now. There's still kind of a messy situation there in the intersection, but apparently it won't hurt your car, so you're free to go through that intersection at this point. And the only other trouble spot remains over on Wasatch Boulevard getting into Little Cottonwood Canyon, but that's mostly cleared out at this point as well. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
The snow moves out today. In fact, it has already for most of us. The high today, 36 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, 44. 48 on Sunday, and then Monday, we start back in the 50s. We're in the mid-50s next week with some rain on Wednesday. Right now, it's 29 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
The woman detained at the Salt Lake Airport last year has now been deported while her case is still actively on appeal. Marta Leiva was sent to her home country of El Salvador after being detained late last year. Her detainment at the Salt Lake Airport was caught on video, and we want to warn our listeners that this is a little bit difficult to listen to.
Help me! Help me! I don't know how to...
So, I mean, that this case, like all of the cases, really, it's disturbing to me for a number of reasons. And one of them is she kept saying, I have papers, and I have children. So we have with us on the line Adam Craig, Utah immigration attorney and Marta's attorney. Can you tell us, why was she deported?
No, but I can tell you she was.
Tell us what happened.
Yeah, that's a great. Sorry, I get the question. I apologize. What happened is the judge, the immigration judge, we filed a motion to reopen. The immigration judge did not agree with our assessment of case law, and candidly, I don't know why, but I kind of do with the way pressure works these days. So we appealed. We sent an appeal out because there's case law directly on point that establishes that if you didn't know the deportation consequences for not showing up to court, if you were never properly served, if you were never properly given information, then you cannot really effectuate a valid deportation. So we appealed that. We provided case law directly from the Board of Immigration Appeals. And regardless, they chose to remove her to El Salvador anyway.
Normally, Adam, when a case is on appeal, would you expect there to be a stay for something like this? I mean, historically, is that what you normally think will happen?
Yeah, because, I mean, if you look at it, if, let's say, for some strange reason, the law actually works here and prevails, they're going to have to pay to bring her back. They have to allow her to come back into the United States because their decision and the removal is overturned. So the way the government used to work, it used to make financial sense that they would let this stay happen because they didn't want to have to go through the rigmarole of if you were to prevail, then you kind of had egg on your face because you then had to effectuate the whole return process and make sure that a port of entry was going to allow her in, make sure everything was on notice. So it just from an efficiency and an economic standpoint didn't make any sense to remove somebody when an appeal was pending.
So, Adam, can I ask you about her family situation? Because I had understood that she still has minor children here. What has happened with her family since she has been detained and now deported?
Yeah, she has 4 citizen children here, and what the worst part is the oldest son is looking at another brain surgery. He's got hydroencephalitis, which I probably shouldn't be revealing, but I'm so ticked that it is what it is. They're all trying to make it work with Marta's sister, and some communities trying to help, and it's kind of a disaster, but they're trying to do the best that they can.
When you take an appeal, Adam, from an immigration court, where does it go? I don't practice. Does it go to the district court or the 10th Circuit? Or is there an immigration appellate court?
Exactly. So there is in Falls Church, Virginia, the Board of Immigration Appeals. It's called the BIA. The BIA is the first line of appellate procedure. Once you've gone there, and if you're not, if you don't prevail there, then you go to the circuit. So theoretically, we would go to the 10th Circuit if we disagreed with what the BIA's decision was.
So what's the process now that you still have an active appeal in place? What happens next?
Well, we go through it. There's a briefing schedule, there's arguments, and then the Board of Immigration Appeals makes its decision. And if we are successful, then we have to effectuate her return.
Then what's the time frame with that, Adam? Sorry.
Well, and see, that's where it becomes problematic, is because now that they know that she's no longer in custody, it's a wink, wink, nod, nod, and they can try to take as much time as they want. When they're in custody, then there is more pressure to make a decision because the government's paying for the person in custody. But once they're out of custody, even though it's with unclean hands, they're not held responsible for that. And so we would also then have to look to the federal court for violating the stay, everything related to what happens with the appeal.
I don't practice in that arena, Adam. I send all my clients to you when they have these questions. But when you have something like this, is there ever the option, and I know it doesn't apply because we're water's under the bridge, to post some sort of security or something? Some people might call it a bond while you're on appeal to secure that you're not going anywhere and that you'll respond to your attorney and whatnot?
In this circumstance, there is not.
Okay.
In other circumstances, there are immigration bonds, but in this circumstance, there is not a bond available to be filed.
So, if you're in contact with her, is she just living in El Salvador? Does she still have family members there? Where is she now?
She is in El Salvador. There are some family members. It's fairly sparse because there are not a lot of family members, but she is there in El Salvador living. And what's interesting is that we've kind of she's got to stay there, because if she if she attempts to come back in and is in any way, shape, or form caught at the border or something were to happen, that would make the situation much worse. Mm-hmm. So we're in a catch-22 where we cannot bring her back in until we go through this process. So then the kids, we have to make a decision with the kids. Do we send them to El Salvador? Because honestly, at the end of the day, they're not going to be able to be here forever. There's not enough financial resources. There's just not enough support here either. So it's going to be a difficult decision we're going to have to make here pretty soon.
Yeah.
I wonder, are you concerned with what you're seeing in Utah right now with immigration enforcement?
I shouldn't be laughing, but that's the only thing I have left. I could either laugh or I could cry. And am I concerned? Guys, I don't go home at night anymore. It just doesn't, there's no end. There's no end. Yes, I'm concerned. Extremely concerned.
Yeah, that's terrible. Adam, did we pull you out of court this morning?
Oh, maybe, but it's okay.
Because I know what happens when you get pulled out of court. You go back in and you're back at the end of the line. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you taking some time for us today, Adam. That was Adam Craig, Utah immigration attorney. Thanks for joining us this morning. There's a little bit of a press conference that we're hearing right now regarding this fire at Murray High School. We're going to break away to that and try to get our listeners up to speed.
And we had at least 3 different fire departments that I'm aware of right now. We had South Salt Lake Fire and Unified Fire help out our local fire department, which is Murray Fire at this time. We appreciate their help. We actually also had West Jordan Fire Department and their air and light come over, so we thank them as well. I know there are any kids in the room with the smoke of the fire at any time?
No. So the fire alarms went off during passing period. And so students were already transitioning between classes. We do not believe there are any students who were in the area where the smoke was happening.
So where's the state of the smoke currently at right now? Students back into school or in the area? Would you want to be put back? Well, the students going to be put back in school?
So we have dismissed Murray High School for the day. When we determined that we would likely have to have the students outside in the evacuation protocol for more than an hour, due to the weather conditions, we did send out information that we were going to close the school for the day.
What about the shop area as well? Would that be under the school investigation being closed off those times? Yeah, the shop area will maintain closed off until 5.
We've been listening to authorities at Murray High School talking about a fire that occurred there this morning about 45 minutes ago. Apparently, the school has now been evacuated. We're going to take a break, but as we get updates on that, we'll come back.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you want to walk, play pickleball, and enjoy other fun activities to stay healthy, but you can't because of bad feet? Hi, this is Mike, and the Good Feet store wants to help.
I just had difficulty walking. I tried them on in the store, and my foot felt so much better.
Do you keep buying new shoes and inserts with little or no relief?
I tried all kinds of shoes. It was the arch supports that made the difference from the Good Feet store.
Don't let bad feet, knees, or back problems get in the way of staying healthy and having fun.
Thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm bowling 3 nights a week.
Get back to doing what you love. At the Good Feet store, we'll personally fit you at high-quality arch supports to maximize your comfort. Stop in the Good Feet store or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Ready to free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business empowers leaders with smart business buying tools, leaving time to focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future at amazonbusiness.com.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZzzQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
If you've ever experienced running out of hot water before your shower was done, or hard water spots on dishes and fixtures, I've got a deal you might be interested in. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and you probably already know that a tankless water heater and a water softener solve both issues. If you've ever thought about looking into getting a tankless water heater, here's the deal I was talking about. Through the end of February, we're including a free water softener with every new tankless water heater we install. The best part of this deal might be that you never have to worry about being the last one to the shower again, or that you don't have to waste the money keeping 40 to 50 gallons of water hot 24/7. To take advantage of this deal, call Any Hour Services before the end of February. The visit's free and there's no obligation to buy. If you decide to have us install a new tankless water heater, we'll throw in the water softener for free. That's right, a free water softener when you purchase a tankless water heater. Pick up the phone and call Any Hour Services right now for all the details. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Trying to make sense of the markets? Looking to diversify out of all the craziness? Thinking about tangible assets like precious metals? Listen to The Gold Show with Kenny Michaels right here on KSL at 3 p.m. Sunday afternoons. Stay up to date on retirement trends, how the IRA rollover process works, and why investors are turning to physical gold. Kenny is a national talk show host with decades of experience in the markets. Tune in for Kenny's Insights and The Gold Show this Sunday afternoon at 3.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
And we're following a story that happened at Murray High School this morning about an hour ago. By the way, that's the school my kids all went to. We have Don Brinkerhoff on scene, who has been listening to the press conference. Don, thanks for joining us this morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Very well. What have we learned about the fire, especially, Don, do we have any idea what caused the fire?
Yes, so the fire started in a dust collector outside of the wood shop. Apparently something sparked in there, and of course there's dust in there, which ignites quickly, burns hot and fast. The fire department was able to get that fire out very quickly, but not before smoke filled the halls. I talked to the assistant superintendent for the Murray School District. He said that smoke filled pretty much the entire first floor of the building, and that the sprinkler system went off, suppressed the fire, made sure that there wasn't any fire throughout the building, but because of the smoke, they had to evacuate the students and send them home for the day.
Well, I'm guessing the students are not sad. So what kind of cleanup is going to happen with this, Don?
That's one of the things they don't know yet. Obviously, with the sprinklers going off, there's computers and other things that don't react real well to water, so they'll have to kind of assess and see what damage may have been done. Of course, there could be some smoke damage inside the building as well.
So there's no concern, Don, that this was a prank or an act of arson or something like that? It was just part of some debris or something that had been left from the wood shop?
Yeah, so there's a dust collector outside the wood shop. They're sanding and cutting and things. That's a vacuum system that pulls the dust out of the shop area and into a collector. And apparently something inside that collector sparked, which then caught fire and, of course, burned very quickly. Just because you've got wood dust, it's almost explosive.
And we understand nobody was hurt. Is that right?
Yeah, there were no injuries. The assistant superintendent said evacuation actually worked very, very well. By the time I got here, there were only a few students. I would say less than a dozen students left. They had evacuated the building. Families had been notified. Families came and picked them up. And so he says that, the evacuation drills that they do apparently worked really well. No injuries, no one hurt. Just because of the smoke, they didn't feel like they could continue class today.
All right. We know that fire drills work, so thank you for that. Thanks, Don. We're going to head up to Capitol Hill now.
Eye on the Hill 2026. Special coverage on Inside Sources.
So we're on day 31 of the 45 Legislative Day session. The session ends 2 weeks from today. And one of the things that's interesting to me about today's schedule is they're only doing committee meetings. In fact, they're going to be wrapping up in the next few minutes, if they're not already done, committee meetings this morning. And then they're just going to do floor time for the rest of the day, basically.
So they're getting the nuts and bolts.
You get more and more coming through the floor.
Well, they're more than 2/3 done. I think we decided that yesterday.
2/3 of the way was yesterday. Yeah. So we're talking about a bill right now that is another bill affecting SNAP, and this is an effort by Representative Kristen Chevrier to help make the foods available on SNAP healthier for the people who are using those benefits.
Yeah, and by SNAP we mean what people have historically
supplemental
thought of
nutrition, food stamps.
Food stamps. So it started out as removing soda from SNAP, and I think that was
last
year. Now they want to remove processed foods,
ultra processed
food. Yeah, and the representative Kristen Chevrier joined midday with Maria Chaleos this week to discuss this proposal.
So we know that people who are on SNAP, children who grow up on SNAP, have a lot higher incidence of type 2 diabetes. So part of the motivation is to make Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program true to its mission, which is to build health in the people with the lower incomes who are in need of assistance from government dollars. The other part of it is that we have taxpayers who are funding this program, and so this is an attempt to be better stewards of tax dollars that come from young families, single parents, and elderly people who are just trying to make ends meet, and in a lot of cases who are losing homes and unable to afford basic necessities. So what we're trying to do is help everyone and make the program do what it's supposed to do while also being good stewards over tax dollars.
So one of the things that's interesting is that the bill, just like last year's bill that did remove soda from what you can purchase with SNAP benefits, it has to go to the federal government, basically because it's a federal program, and we have to get permission in the state to be able to change the program.
Right. And so you mentioned soda is off the table now for SNAP funds.
That's right. And that started January 1st.
And so I was trying to look at what they were talking about with ultra-processed food. Of course, candy, prepackaged sweets, and the idea behind this is that they don't want taxpayer funds, and we just heard our representative about this, to contribute to obesity, diabetes, chronic disease. But there's also the other side, which is it's hard to implement. It's hard to define.
And some foods, like you think about macaroni and cheese or ramen noodles, for example, those are a lot cheaper, honestly, than healthy foods. So Gina Cornea, she's the executive director of Utahns Against Hunger. She shared some concerns with Maria Chaleos about this legislation.
We don't have a clear definition on what ultra-processed foods are. Does that mean a Dorito? Does it mean, a frozen pizza? What does that mean? And so, one, we've got some concerns about, honestly, the chaos that it will cause for the grocery stores and the folks who, will be tasked with figuring that out. Last year they banned soda and had candy in the ban originally, but they couldn't even come to a consensus on what the definition of candy was. So, for example, a Mounds bar is candy, a Twix bar is not, because it has flour in it. And so it gets very complicated, and how things are taxed and how things are categorized. And so on that side of things, it just causes chaos. On the other side, on the philosophical sort of leaning into the Make America Healthy Again, what we know is that people buy healthier food when they have more benefits. So it becomes a cost issue. If they can buy, something that will feed their family, that costs less, and they have limited funds, they're going to buy that. And, on this Friday, Utahns Against Hunger is launching the SNAP Challenge, where we're challenging Utahns and elected officials to live on $6 a day. And so how healthy can you eat on $6 a day? And I think, if you have time and you have resources and you can shop sales, then I think it's possible, but it's still a very modest benefit. And, we have concerns that it will just continue to limit what folks can buy, reducing the amount of food they can buy, and that it could increase food insecurity and hunger.
Okay, Holly on the Hill, what's the latest on this one?
Well, the latest is that the House committee that was listening to this bill held it in committee, which means they did not approve it. Doesn't mean it's dead, because nothing is actually all the way dead until midnight on the last day of the session. But for now, that bill is not moving forward.
Yeah, and it's a bill. I think it makes a lot of sense. I can understand both arguments, however. Maybe it needs to be refined a little bit. The fact that we're saying, well, a Snickers bar is A and a Twix bar is B, that's a...
Right?
Something...
A distinction without a difference, right. Something like that.
I was going to say the exact same thing. That's what we... I think that the sponsors and the authors need to more closely define it. That I'm just... talking out of turn here, but maybe that's why it's held up the way you just described.
Well, I wasn't able to listen to the committee hearing, but they did substitute the bill, and as almost always, you see everybody approved the substitution, but then they went ahead and held the bill in committee. So it's a bill that could come back because there may be additional work that needs to be done, and we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, interesting bill that we do want to follow up on. So another thing we want to follow up on is a bill that would prohibit police officers from pulling people over if they are driving an unmarked car. So it doesn't happen very often, but there are certain officers that drive what we call unmarked vehicles. Should they be able to make routine traffic stops? We're going to talk about that after the break and go to a bill that addresses that very issue.
KSL-FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour. Smoke started pouring out of Murray High School a little over an hour ago, and students were evacuated. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff joins us live with the very latest. Don?
Amanda, it turns out that this fire was caused by a dust collector outside the wood shop. Apparently something inside that dust collector sparked. It caught fire and sent smoke throughout the first floor of the building. The assistant superintendent for the Murray School District tells me that because of that smoke, they did not feel it was safe to keep the students here, so they sent them home. He says the evacuation procedure actually proceeded very well. The students were able to get out of the building. They met their families and were taken home. What damages may have been done will be assessed over the next little while. Reporting live from Murray High School, Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Thank you, Don. Our top national story this hour, beef prices don't look like they'll be coming down anytime soon.
It's a perfect illustration of a basic economic principle. The U.S. cattle herd has shrunk to its smallest in 75 years, but Americans still want their beef. Small supply, great demand, and analysts say prices at the meat counter will remain elevated perhaps until 2028. Ranchers are reluctant to beef up the cattle herd. They're seeing their strongest profits in decades.
ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. Your money at this moment. The Dow is up 114 points now. That's 0.25%. We're at 49,509. Coming up cold today, but warming over the weekend. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Did you know your baby might need their first dental visit sooner than you think? Did you know your baby should visit the dentist after their first tooth appears or by their first birthday? Keep your family healthy. Your smile matters. Babies can get cavities as soon as they have teeth. Bad bacteria can be transferred to a baby's mouth through unwashed spoons or pacifiers. Pacifiers dipped in sugar or sweetened drinks can also cause cavities. Prevention begins by using a small, soft toothbrush and a little fluoride toothpaste. Grain of rice size ages 1 to 2 and a pea size ages 3 to 6. Practice with your baby before their first dental exam. A dental professional can give you the best advice to keep your baby healthy and smiling. If you don't have a dentist, visit yoursmileutah.org for more information on community dental services. This message brought to you by Utah Oral Health Coalition, Utah Dental Association, University of Utah School of Dentistry, the Utah Department of Health and Human Services, and other Utah health partners. Remember, a healthy smile means a healthier life.
Your smile matters.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program and the Shingo Institute at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. The world is flat and getting flatter. Not the planet, organizations on the planet. Almost every military strategist who's not beholden to a dictator will tell you that the reason Ukraine has been able to hold off the much bigger Russian army is because Russia has too many generals. Ukraine pushed decision-making and innovation down, allowing field commanders to make decisions close to the combat. Recently, Amazon announced that they will be cutting thousands of jobs, mostly due to cost-cutting AI innovations, part of a corporate strategy to become much flatter, to eliminate layers. Even government is making a forced march to becoming leaner, focused on purpose, and adding more value. For all of us, it means that we constantly have to ask how we are adding value to an enterprise. Learn more about continuous improvement in an MBA from Utah State University. Go to utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
How can you grow your business from idea to industry leader? With smart business buying tools and technology from Amazon Business. From fast, free shipping to in-depth buying insights and automated purchase approvals, we deliver everything you need. Go to amazonbusiness.com for support.
Right now, save $16 on a pair of Rain-X Rugged XL wiper blades, plus get 2 times O rewards points only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Traffic and weather together, and it's brought to you by UCCU. Direct deposit gets you $300. Love where you bank. And back to you, Jason.
Amanda, it looks like all the accidents that we had earlier have cleared out. We don't have any accidents that we're currently looking at, and that means all the delays that were in place have all cleared out as well. So we don't see any delays, no accidents. The only minor slowdown you're going to find is on Pioneer Crossing, headed over towards I-15. That's because there's a construction zone there, and that's been that case for the last little while. Everything else, though, is moving smoothly. No problems on I-15 along the Wasatch Front. Whipple Service Champions is Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services, and they're your first choice for offering honest second opinions. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
We stay in the mid-30s today, up to the 40s for the weekend with more sunshine tomorrow. Then we start in the 50s on Monday. Right now it's 30 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Eye on the Hill 2026. Special coverage on Inside Sources.
Well, should police officers be allowed to pull people over for routine traffic violations if the officer is in an unmarked vehicle? Right now, the answer to that is yes. But with a bill that's being proposed, Senate Bill 262 by Senator Daniel McKay, the answer would change. And the bill would prohibit law enforcement agencies from using unmarked law enforcement vehicles to initiate traffic stop for minor traffic violations.
So the very first question I have is, okay, Senator McKay, did you get pulled over by an unmarked police car for a traffic ticket, or somebody that you know?
Somebody you love?
Yeah,
right.
Somebody that you know. So this was interesting to me. It just says for the infractions, right? So you're speeding, or maybe your taillight's out, I guess.
Right.
That an unmarked police car cannot pull you over.
Right. If this bill passed. Right now they can.
Right.
They can light you up.
You're correct.
So this would say you can't do that. And
it's taken the first step.
Absolutely. I can understand the logic of it, which is this. If I'm operating a vehicle and I am alone and I'm in a rural area and a car comes up that looks like it may or may not be a police car, and they put something on their dash that looks like they're lighting me up trying to pull me over, should I pull over? I mean, I think... is it an impersonator? Is it a problem?
I know, especially we have stories now of people who are doing that. That is a concern I hadn't thought about,
I think that the idea is to alleviate any risk of that occurring and saying to the police officers, look, if you're in an unmarked car, just don't stop. You don't need to do traffic interdiction.
Let me ask you a question about if this bill were to pass, an unmarked car could still stop somebody for a crime, committing a crime, which is different than an infraction.
Right.
What are they typically used for now?
Unmarked cars?
Yeah.
So police officers who are undercover, let's say you're doing gangs or you're doing drugs, you're doing any sort of things that you don't really need a marked car, then you'd be in an unmarked vehicle because you don't want to draw attention to yourself. And a lot of detectives have unmarked vehicles just because they don't want to have to deal with the markings and whatnot.
Well, then why would they be pulling people over if they're like undercover?
Exactly. Because I guess if you're driving home and somebody comes flying by you at 65 and a 35, like, hey, wait a minute, I need to do something about this. We don't want police officers to feel like they need to do that. Just to be pulling someone over. This is a problem that doesn't exist, a cure for a problem that I don't think occurs, because I am not aware very often of cases where people have been pulled over by unmarked police cars, although it apparently occurs, and in Dan McKay's jurisdiction, maybe it did once or twice when it maybe shouldn't have. And I can understand. There maybe should be some delineation, some understanding as to how that works.
Well, I think this bill proposes that, right? And it did pass out of the Senate committee this morning, but that's just the first step in the process. It has to go through the Senate entire body, and they have a whole lot of bills now that are backing up, and then it has to go over to the House side and do the same.
Whether the bill passes or not, I would just say this, and this isn't legal advice, but maybe it is. If you are in a car and you're being pulled over by something that you don't recognize as a police car, it doesn't have lights and siren, it doesn't have the badges on it, it doesn't have all the markings, and you're not sure, instead of running or just continuing to go, what you do is you turn on your emergency flashers, you go slow, and you drive to an area that is well lit, a real public area. You don't just pull off on this side of the freeway because you don't know who this individual is. Law enforcement, if it is legit law enforcement, and they see you activate your emergency flashers, they see you pull over, they see you trying to get off of an exit, will recognize what you're trying to do is comply, but not right in the middle of nowhere. So I can understand why. I can say that there is a way to do this right now so that you don't cause concern with the officer or get yourself in peril by making sure that you stop soon after the interdiction by the police officer and get into an area where you're safer.
Yeah. We have a texter that said I would never pull over for an unmarked vehicle, and I understand those concerns, right? I think maybe I've heard go to your closest police station, right? Or I might even call 911 and say, is there actually somebody?
And that's another thing to do. That's another thing to do is to call 911 and say, hey, is this
legit?
Legitimate police car behind me?
Yeah.
But you're right. Police officers who are in these unmarked cars, they're usually doing something more important than taillight violations or, or license plate lights out. Yeah.
Mrs. Richardson. So there are some other bills on the Hill too, and one of them that I wanted to talk about, it took another attempt to get it passed, and that was the bill that would have allowed students to transfer basically at any time to any school that had open enrollment. So we were talking about student athletes being able to transfer 3 different schools in the same school year and play on 3 different teams, right?
Yeah. Amy Donaldson said, well, you could go to one school for football, and then when the baseball season started, or basketball, for the winter, you go to a different school, and then spring baseball, you go to a third school. This bill would seem to allow that without restriction, and she thought this is something administrators don't like, coaches don't like, and maybe it shouldn't pass. She had an interesting take on it.
So this bill has died twice now. So it wasn't considered the other day at the hearing. There were a lot of people there to speak to it, and then they ended up not talking about it. They brought it back today. I'm assuming, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming there's a lot of people there to talk about it, and the committee killed the bill today.
So there's one part of the bill that does make sense, and that's bullying.
Yeah.
That a student should be able to have fairly straightforward ways of getting away from the school if there's a victim of bullying.
Yes, and Amy clarified that for us too, that portion of the bill would have allowed parents to certify that bullying had occurred rather than taking the whole process up through the school officials, right? And then saying, look, my child has been bullied. I don't know if that goes with student athletes, right, necessarily. And I think she indicated that was one of the sponsor's main concerns, but he didn't strip out the other part of the bill that basically is saying you can transfer for any reason.
Can I ask you about another bill? And I don't know that you'll just have this on the tip of your tongue, but we've been talking about the bill that tweaks the age under which a child can start operating a vehicle. They talked about lowering the age to 14 and a half or 15, but there was a second component of the bill that maybe is proceeding, and that is that parents would have the right to be the driver's ed instructor.
Yeah, and that bill is going forward. It has passed out of committee, and I think it's on the House floor. It could even be over on the Senate side. I can look that up if you've got another legal question.
But the bill,
they stripped out the age.
Right. That's what I meant. The bill still has the parental, I don't know, instruction part of it left in.
They do, and we had a texter yesterday say, well, does that eliminate driver's ed then at the high schools? No, absolutely not. It doesn't. It just adds one additional option for parents. So you can also go to a private driving school and pay for that if you choose to, but this would expand it for parents and letting parents teach their kids to drive from start to finish, and would not require them to purchase a car that has a second brake.
And I can understand also that at the end of the day, you still have to go to DMV. You have to take the written test. You have to pass it. You have to do the driving test. You have to pass
all of those things are still the same.
If you do that, I don't know that it matters necessarily who taught you. You can cross those bridges.
Right. And I guess some people are just like, well, are they going to have the same training? Yes, actually, it would include you have to show this video. here's the download packet, right, that you can get so that you can teach your kids.
I thought driver's ed was fun. So to me, if I had a kid in school, I'd say take driver's ed.
You know, when I was 16 a long time ago, they showed us, the scary videos and stuff. I think the videos have gotten scarier according to my kids. So
yeah.
There's another bill I wanted to tell you.
Oh,
just
sure.
Really quickly before we go to break. That's a bill on underage marriage amendments, basically prohibiting child marriages in the state of Utah. Hallelujah. But it has passed unanimously out of the House, and it is over waiting to go to a Senate committee. Todd Weiler will be the Senate sponsor.
And that was in response to some people coming from out of state into Utah because we had a little more liberal laws about that. Yeah.
All right. When we come back, it is actually National Caregivers Day. There are 697,000 caregivers in Utah. AARP is going to join us next to discuss the demand that caregivers face and the need that they have for more support.
Welcome to guided meditation. Close your eyes. You're at the beach. The seagulls are calling. You take out your iPhone 16e you got from Cricket and use Apple Intelligence to clean up that selfie you just took. It's a good one. You send it to your friends instantly thanks to reliable nationwide 5G. They're totally jealous. Get iPhone 16e for $49.99 when you switch. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new line on the Supreme Unlimited plan. First service charge and tax due at sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed. Plus, free home delivery with any bed and base. Ends Monday. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
The movie show broadcasting live today from My Hearing Centers at their Sandy location. It's really interesting because I was actually doing some research this morning, and I was reading about a study from Johns Hopkins about what hearing loss can be linked to, and that when you begin to suffer hearing loss, brain scans have showed that may contribute to a faster rate of atrophy in the brain. This is something we've talked about with Matt Deering quite a bit. So one of the things that they do at My Hearing Centers is they want to help anybody who might be experiencing any hearing difficulties at all to participate in the evaluation of the new latest hearing aid technology. We've got a deal going on between now and the end of the movie show at 1 o'clock. If you contact My Hearing Centers at 801-701-1629, they're going to set up a no-cost hearing evaluation for you or a family member. And then after that, you'll have a chance to test out a pair of cutting-edge hearing aids risk-free for a period of 30 days. It was really interesting in this Johns Hopkins article I was reading about. They said that specifically, find a place, if you're going to get your hearing checked, that will allow you to try out the hearing aids for fit, for things like comfort, for seeing if it helps in your situation. That's what Matt and the team at My Hearing Centers wants to do. They want to set you up a 30-day risk-free trial. And if you make that appointment during the movie show and you keep that appointment, well, guess what? We're going to have an extra little bonus. But we'll let Matt tell us about that next hour. 801-701-1629. It's the Signia BCTIX. That's the name of the device. It's got some really unique features, including a sleek design, the most advanced technology. When Matt tells me about what's in this thing, it's hard to believe it could all fit in something that's just barely larger than a jelly bean, and it hides right behind your ear. If you have longer hair, people will never even know you have a hearing aid, but you'll know because things will change and improve so dramatically. So give them a call to set up this appointment for a free hearing evaluation and a hearing test and a chance to try the latest technology risk-free for 30 days. 801-701-1629.
Are you looking to upgrade your home this year? Advanced Window Products is your local window and door manufacturer that sells direct to the public.
That's right, celebrating 40 years serving Utah since 1986. And right now, it's the New Year, New Window Sale. Get $2,500 off when you buy 10 windows or more.
Our windows are made right here in Salt Lake City. Sales and installation are all in-house, meaning no middleman markups. You get the most affordable, high-quality custom windows in the state.
We build it, we install it, and we guarantee it for life.
Every window comes with a lifetime warranty, labor, glass, and parts included. serviced by our local team, and the warranty is transferable to the next homeowner. Financing is available too. Save now, pay later, with payments as low as $150 a month. Buy local and support the local economy. Don't wait. Buy 10 windows or more and get $2,500 off. Beat the rush and call today. Call us at 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. Or visit us at advancedwindows.com.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The new Inside Sources.
Well, there are 697,000 caregivers in Utah, and today is National Caregivers Day. By caregivers, I mean people who provide support for individuals, things like bathing, meal prep, managing medications, arranging transportation, handling medical needs. And a lot of these caregivers, Holly, don't have a lot of training, but they provide $5.5 billion in unpaid care each year. No surprise that Utah is doing so well in that category.
These are family caregivers, right? And there can be professional caregivers, of course, but we're talking about family caregivers, and I'm in that category, right? And you know that, and you can have training. You certainly can get up and to speed and taking care of your kids or your disabled spouse or elderly parents, and it's one of the issues I think that sometimes we just make an assumption that family is going to care for whoever it is that needs care. In fact, we have a legislator that's going to be resigning after the session's over to care for his daughter
yes.
who was in a really bad car accident, right? To help care for her. So some of the information that we have from some research, and we'll talk to our guest about this, but some of the information from the AARP is just how much caregivers actually pay out of their own pocket.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to speak with Alan Ormsby, the AARP Utah State Director. Thanks for joining us, Alan.
Oh, thank you. It's such a great day to recognize caregivers.
I agree.
Tell our listeners what a caregiver means. And I know that's a very broad term, Alan, but what you consider to be a caregiver.
Yeah, when we talk about caregivers, we typically are thinking of family members or friends, neighbors, anybody who's part of a community that provides care to a person who is either older, disabled, someone who can't do services for themselves. So it's a very broad thing. And one thing that's interesting, many caregivers don't recognize that they are caregivers.
I will just say this. Look, it's an honor to take care of my adult son who's in a wheelchair, but it can really be draining sometimes. Like, I feel like I work around the clock and his needs are not as intensive as some others. What can you talk about the emotional impact on caregivers?
Yeah, it's very challenging. It's a beautiful thing, but it's also a very difficult thing. And I think one of the things that we can do on this National Caregivers Day is just recognize the people who are those caregivers, and make sure that they know that we recognize them, we validate what they're doing, we love what they're doing, and ask them, how are you? So often the care recipient is the person we ask about, but we forget to say, how are you doing? Are you doing okay?
Tell us about the AARP, your group, Alan, and what they're doing and what they do to encourage caregivers, to support caregivers, and to maybe even educate caregivers.
Yeah, absolutely. So AARP is a membership organization in Utah. We have about 240,000 members in the state, and caregiving is one of the key priorities for AARP, both in Utah and nationally. We try and get lots of good information into people's hands because that's what caregivers tell us is the biggest challenge is I just don't know where to turn to for help. And so we try and educate people on where the resources are. We have guidebooks and we refer people all the time to the area agencies on aging. So there are resources out there. Don't try and tackle this alone. There are people out there who can help you.
Can you talk to us about some of the financial needs maybe that the caregivers are expending as they provide this care?
Yeah, caregivers on average, we find, spend about almost $8,000 out of their own pocket providing care for their loved ones, and that's a big deal. It's also a really big deal that many people step out of the workforce so that they can become either part-time or full-time caregivers. It would be really great to acknowledge that financial sacrifice and figure out some strategies, like maybe some tax benefits for people who are spending a significant amount of money out of their pocket. Those are some of the things that AARP is fighting for.
And AARP is fighting nationally for that, correct, Alan? Trying to help
Yes.
people and make sure that, or at least hope that they can get some sort of a financial break, correct, on their taxes?
Yes, absolutely. It's one of our key priorities.
So tell our listeners how they can find out about AARP's resources, what's available that they could look up and find to help them understand their roles as caregivers and what's available to help them as caregivers.
Yeah, every state has local resources that are available to them. So I would recommend people go to aarp.org/UT. That'll show you all the different things that AARP has to offer. Don't hesitate to reach out and call us. We're happy to talk with folks. And then, if you are a member, look for the opportunities to come to classes so that we can help educate about caregiving issues and give you the resources that you might need.
Can you talk to us also about, I guess, what's the population being cared for?
Yeah. Typically in Utah, a lot of those people who are being cared for are older adults. We have in Utah about 600,000 people who are over the age of 60. We've got lots of people with disabilities as well, and all of those folks need some assistance. And in Utah, we calculate that there are over 450,000 caregivers in the state at any given time. They provide literally billions of dollars in services to the people that they are serving. If we had to find employees to do that kind of work, it would absolutely bankrupt Utah. So we really want to give our love to those caregivers who go out of their way.
You mentioned, I'm just going to have one follow-up question. You mentioned that I think it's something like 60+% are actually working. Or is this the sandwich generation? Are they taking care of elderly parents, working, and maybe even have kids at home still?
Very frequently. I will raise my hand and say I fit in that category. I do caregiving for my mom, and I have 2 kids at home still. And it's a really tough place to be. It's wonderful. I would never trade it for the world. I love my Saturdays with my mom, but it can be very, very heavy. And so this is a perfect day to reach out to those folks and tell them you love them.
On a broader scale, Alan, can you just tell our listeners what AARP does? I know that probably could take 20 minutes, but give us the 2-minute version. On the broadest version, what we do in Utah, our state office is responsible for advocacy. So currently we have a full-time lobbyist who's up at the legislature fighting for great policies. We do outreach. We do all kinds of events. Movies for Grown-Ups is one that people seem to love the most here. And then we're also communicating with those 240,000 members, letting them know what the services are that are available to them, discounts that are available to them. So that's primarily what we do in a really big picture: advocacy, outreach, and communication.
All right. Thank you so much. That was Alan Ormsby, the AARP Utah State Director, speaking with us on National Caregivers Day.
Tell us what you do. I mean, you are the ultimate
I'm just
caregiver.
tired.
I know. You're
I'm just tired. But, I think I'm going to take advantage of some of the things that Alan mentioned, because my husband and I are starting to talk about, okay, we're probably not going to outlive our son. And so what happens when we die, right? Yeah, our son that's in a wheelchair, he's 31. Mentally, he's normal, but he's got a lot of physical needs. And so we're starting to ask those questions, and I don't know the answers.
Yeah, and what you can set up in terms of a trust or in terms of funds.
Well, and
to help him
even
financially.
the actual logistics of who can help him shower. Right? Because right now, all of those caregiving tasks, or almost all of them, fall to me. And there are some things he won't let his dad do. He only lets me help him with. And that's fine. And again, like Alan said, it's an honor, and I love doing it. And also, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
You do more than anybody I know, Holly, for your family, for the community, and everything. You're
It's
just amazing.
But it's good. And I signed up for it when he was born, right? I mean, he was born to us. But it is just one of the things where you say, look, how can I support other caregivers? And I feel like I know how to get my needs met, but I know that there are a lot, or just like I'm drowning. And I've seen marriages break up. I've seen parents just say, I'm done, and just walk away. And it's really, really can be really difficult.
Yeah. Well, let's pivot because we're getting to the end of the 2026 Winter Games in Italy. We're going to go to Italy after the break and see what's going on.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour. In a 6-3 decision this morning, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down most of President Donald Trump's tariffs, saying his office does not give him emergency powers to unilaterally impose tariffs. ABC's Devin Dwyer explains the ruling.
Known as the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. It was written in 1977. He claimed it gave him unlimited power to tariff any country at any level for as long as he wants. And Roberts said the law simply does not give him that authority. Congress, under the Constitution, has the power to tax Americans, collect tariffs.
President Trump is expected to speak with reporters in a little over an hour with his response to the Supreme Court's ruling and how he plans to move forward. Avalanche danger is high across the state, and experts are saying to stay out of the backcountry for now. Utah Avalanche Center forecaster Craig Gordon says the month of dry weather before our last storm created a fragile snow base, and that base will easily crumble under the weight of the new heavy snow.
Any backcountry avalanche we trigger, it's going to break deep, it's going to break wide, it's going to have devastating consequences.
He says if you're going to the backcountry this weekend, stick to wide, flat terrain, and skiers should stay inbounds at the resorts. A Utah lawmaker is trying to get a bill passed that would prevent police officers from using unmarked cars to make traffic stops. The bill from Senator Dan McKay does make an exception for using unmarked cars to make traffic stops for the purpose of investigating a crime other than a traffic infraction. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 118 right now. We're at 49,276. Coming up cold today, but warming up this weekend. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
The Movie Show broadcasting live from My Hearing Centers today. My Hearing Centers locations up and down Utah. We're at the location at 90th South and 700 East. And we've got an offer today for KSL and Movie Show listeners from My Hearing Centers is a chance to get a no-cost hearing evaluation for you or a family member. And then, if you do have some hearing loss, which they'll determine through the test, you'll have a chance to test out cutting-edge hearing aids risk-free for 30 days. Now, although 27 million Americans age 50 and older have hearing loss, only 1 in 7 uses a hearing aid. And so if you think your hearing is starting to diminish at all, it's worth making an appointment for a hearing check. If you have hearing loss, there are a few myths apparently that keep people from getting help because there's no downside to use any hearing aids. They help most people who try them. And in those people, they can make all the difference in the world. So if you're somebody who's thinking, well, my hearing's not that bad, well, here's an interesting statistic that I found from Johns Hopkins. Hearing aid users wait on average 10 years before getting help for hearing loss. But during that time, communication with loved ones becomes more difficult, and then isolation and health risks increase. So being proactive makes a huge difference, and that's what My Hearing Centers wants to do today. Give them a call, 801-701-1629, to make that appointment. This offer of the free hearing evaluation, which is the test and then the sit down with the audiologists, You can only do that if you call between now and 1 o'clock and make that appointment during the movie show. And then you'll get a chance to try out the Signia BCTIX Bluetooth connectivity transformed, the world's first hearing aid with what they call multi-stream architecture that's capable of pinpointing multiple moving speakers in real time. It's practically spy-type stuff that they'll put in your ear, and it's amazing. And we're going to talk about it with Matt Deering. 801-701-1629. Take advantage of this offer from My Hearing Centers during the movie show. 801-701-1629.
When Team USA is on, you can almost see the moment a kid starts believing they could be next. Now, while Xfinity can't guarantee that, they can guarantee something just as important, that your internet price won't change for 5 years. No contracts or commitments, so while your kid is ordering gear online, streaming highlight reels, or video chatting, your Xfinity internet price won't budge. And who knows, by the time the next Olympic Winter Games roll around, your kid could be getting fitted for their very own Team USA uniform, and guess what? You'll still be paying the same price for reliable Wi-Fi. And there's even more to enjoy with the Xfinity Gold Medal Celebration. Now through February 22nd, get their best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed. Just $50 a month, plus get Peacock Premium included for 2 years. That's a $10.99 monthly value. Xfinity. Imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Actual speeds vary.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Up to $500 for loan transfers. Love where you bank. And back to you, Jason.
And Amanda, I'm looking at the map right now, and it is green pretty much everywhere that we're looking. What that means to you is that there's no accidents or no major delays all along the Wasatch Front. If you're on I-15, you're going to be good to go, both north and southbound, between Ogden all the way down to Payson. No problems at all on any of the major feeders over to I-15, even that slowing that we had on Pioneer Crossing down in American Fork, Lehigh. That has all cleared out, even though the construction zone is still there. No delays right now getting into Little Cottonwood Canyon either. They've cleared all that out as people have made it up and are probably doing some skiing about now. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll be in the mid-30s today, sunshine in the 40s for the weekend. We're in the 50s much of next week. Right now, though, we've still got clouds and 31 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Okay, so this was really exciting yesterday, but it's actually while we were doing the show, I kept kind of keeping one eye out on the women's hockey finals at the Olympics, and it was the USA versus Canada, the two best teams in the world for it seems like for at least the last several Olympic games. They always meet in the finals. The USA, I'm just going through a little bit here, had been undefeated. They hadn't lost a game in a year. They're playing Canada, and in the second period, Canada scores a goal, and so it's 1-0. And I'm thinking, this is bad.
Yeah.
You get into the third period, and there are only 3 periods in hockey. There's like 2 minutes left. They're on the brink, and the USA scores the tying goal. There are 2 minutes and 4 seconds left in the game, and then they go into overtime. 54 seconds in, or no, sorry, just into overtime, which is, I think, sudden death. So they're watching, and everyone's watching. Whoever scores is going to win the game.
Sure.
The USA scores, they win the gold medal. I mean, it was incredible. It was I don't know why. I thought that was something to watch.
No, it's super great. And we also have the story, of course, of Alyssa Liu, who won gold for women's figure skating. And you know what was really interesting to me and really goes with on this day, but it was actually the first time since the Winter Games were here in Salt Lake that a woman's figure skater won gold. We had gone through quite a period of drought, and she is just delightful to watch.
Oh,
right?
she is.
She's so fun. And I love this story. Her dad is a refugee from China. He fled after the Tiananmen Square all stuff. He was pro-democracy. he is a single father to 5 children that he had via surrogate mothers. So it's a really interesting story.
She has the most interesting hair color. Also,
she does,
she's
and
the
I think
cutest
I
kid
read
in the
something
world.
that she was doing that on purpose to look like the 5 rings. But I could be
good for
wrong,
her.
but I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
So now we really are going to go over to Italy. We're going to talk with Matt Gebhardt, who's in Cortina right now. Matt, you're winding up.
Good morning. We're winding up. Yeah, happy last Friday of the games.
I know. So tell us, we've had a bunch of snow and a bunch of avalanches. How has the weather and snow been over there?
It's been similar to Utah. Like, we flew in and it was unseasonably warm, and it was like, hopefully, I mean, there's enough snow to do the games, but everyone's kind of like, ugh. And then a couple of days before, it snowed a bunch, and then it keeps snowing like crazy and then warming up to like 40, 50 degrees.
Wow.
Fahrenheit over here. So it's been, same sort of concern, same sort of conditions with regards to avalanches. Obviously, the Olympic courses are keeping, pristine, but yeah, it's been really wild. In fact, yesterday, I went up to kind of above the ski resorts to NBC rented out this like suite for people to come interview Mikaela Shiffrin, and like, we barely made it. My bus went off the road. They had to call a mechanic to come get chains on it. We ended up calling an Uber. I made it just in time, and then it was I was stuck up there for hours, just basically trying to find someone who'd take me down the mountain again. So it was it's been wild here.
So were you able to be part of that interview with Mikaela?
Yeah,
How
I
did
interviewed her
that go? Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yep. I mean, so I didn't know Mikaela before this. She's from Colorado, and I mean, I certainly knew the name, but I'd never met her. And she is she's really thoughtful with her answers. She's really, really generous with her time, and she's really, really thoughtful with her answers. And it's sometimes you get to the superstar status, which is kind of where I put her. They're kind of okay, here's your, two questions, get out, and they're given the same canned answers. But she's really a thoughtful person. I've come to really appreciate the time that she has for her fans and for the press. And yeah, it was really interesting to talk to her too, because it's she won gold yesterday. We were going to do the interview standing up, and she's like, okay, but maybe only cause the guy said my legs are gassed. And it's so we go into the interview like that, and then we come out of it, and she's basically during the interview, she's like, so next week I got to go ski this Super G event. And it's wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Your season's not over. You've got more to do.
And she won the slalom, Matt, by over a second. I mean, that's unheard of. She must have just gone berserk. That run, just watching her was just magic.
She won by a second and a half, which was, which doesn't sound like a lot, but to put it into context, that is the second biggest margin ever in the history of Alpine. So she is now the most decorated officially the most decorated Alpine skier ever. She has 3 gold medals. She got her first one when she was 18 years old. She has the record for having the youngest gold medal, and now also at 30 years old, the oldest gold medal. She has 4 medals total. If you can count all the World Cups, which honestly, I think I don't want to put words in her mouth, but basically the impression I got was she cares more about the World Cups, frankly, than the Olympics. She really wants to be this world champion, and she's really an interesting person.
All right. Thanks so much. What should we look forward to? One final question. What should we look forward to on the closing ceremonies?
So, it's the closing ceremonies are going to be in this town that none of us have been to yet. This million-year-old, I exaggerate, but really, really old place. And, I don't exactly know. They're going to put out the torches. They're going to celebrate the games. That's what they always do at these closing ceremonies. I know that all of us who are over here covering this for KSL TV all have these special stories prepared. I've been handing out Olympic pins, KSL Olympic pins, to basically everybody with Utah ties, and their reaction to them, and kind of what went into our pins. That's kind of what my focus is. It's turned into kind of a really sweet story. And honestly, been some of my favorite moments from the games was these, not even on television necessarily, but the moments I'm having with these superstars, with these athletes when the camera's there but not rolling. It's been a pretty magical experience, and hopefully we're able to convey that a little bit on TV for you.
All right. Thanks so much. That's Matt Gebhardt over in Cortina. Look, it's a good time to talk about some of the history of the Winter Games.
This day in the history of the Winter Games on Inside Sources, brought to you by America First Credit Union.
I want to start with on this day that actually relates to the Summer Games, and it was on February 20th, 1890, that Alma Richards who was Utah's first Winter Games winner. He was born in Parowan, a tiny town, especially in 1890. He competed in the 1912 Summer Games, if you can believe
Born
it.
in Parowan, Utah.
Yeah,
down in Iron
Yep,
County,
Alma
I
Richards.
think. Yeah.
So on this day also, we had in 1960 at Squaw Valley, we had the Soviet women who swept the 10K cross-country event. It was the first medal sweep for the Soviets at a Winter Games, actually. And then in 1988, Brian Boitano won the gold medal in figure skating. In 1998, Tara Lipinski won the figure skating gold medal, just ahead of her teammate Michelle Kwan at the Nagano Winter Games. And then in 2002, so we mentioned this with Alyssa Liu, who just won gold. That was the last time there was a gold medal won for women's figure skating. But we also had a Norwegian athlete who became the first, and he is still the only athlete to win all 4 biathlon events, and that was here in the Winter Games in Salt Lake City. So you can remember that this day in the history of the Winter Games was brought to you by America First Credit Union. Helping your money do more has never been easier. Just head to americafirst.com and open a high-yield certificate today. When we come back after this break, I think we might be headed to a press conference with the president or the movie show.
Go to the movie show.
Stay with us.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
The movie show coming to you live from My Hearing Centers in Sandy. They've got locations up and down Utah. And why that matters is because that means there's one probably close to wherever you're listening to us right now. And right now they've got an offer for you to get your hearing checked. Has it been a long time? Has it been since you were a kid, maybe? If you're 50 or older and you haven't had your hearing checked, you should definitely come and take advantage of this offer for a no-cost hearing evaluation for you or a family member. If you do have some hearing loss, My Hearing Centers will sit down with you and tell you about what you can do to get it taken care of, including, and really this is the main thing, a chance to try out the Signia BCTIX, the latest in hearing aid technology, risk-free, a trial for 30 days. Now, maybe you're thinking to yourself, look, wearing hearing aids means I'm old, I'm not ready for that. It's normal to feel like that, but plenty of people with a hearing impairment, the problem is they sit silently, literally silently, rather than joining in the conversations and activities because they fear that their hearing problem will make them seem helpless or less than competent. But the truth is, connecting with others actually helps your brain stay younger and keeps you involved with life. Maybe you're worried about how they look. Forget the old days with the big whistling earpieces. That is not the case anymore. This Signia BTIX, it's actually smaller than most of the little Bluetooth things. It's smaller than the kids in their AirPods that are in their ear, and it's way less intrusive as it wraps around your ear. It stays hidden. Even celebrities are wearing these today and not feeling embarrassed about it. And so that's what. If you call and make an appointment during the movie show, 801-701-1629, you'll get a chance for you or the loved one to have that hearing evaluation at no cost and then risk-free for 30 days. Now, Matt's got a little bonus that we'll tell you about next hour, but you'll qualify for that bonus if you call and make the appointment during the movie show at any point, and you'll be eligible. 801-701-1629. Make that appointment with My Hearing Centers.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates. This weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Deep, deep discounts. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Today, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
Inside Sources.
We are back on Inside Sources, and we're expecting to hear some live remarks from President Trump on the Supreme Court's ruling striking down his tariffs, and apparently a Utah representative has already weighed in on it.
This would be Senator John Curtis. He just barely released this statement, and he says this: today's ruling affirms, despite all the noise of the moment, that the founder's system of checks and balances remains strong nearly 250 years later. Several questions remain unanswered, including what happens to the revenue already collected and how the administration may use alternative authorities to impose tariffs. Looking ahead, it's critical that we provide the clarity and predictability businesses need. And that really is reflects back on what we heard from Michael Kofod, who is an economist, and saying, look, we just really need this stability in the markets.
I'm guessing Trump's press conference will be a little different message than what
I'm guessing
Curtis
it.
had
I'm
said.
guessing it might be. So today, we already said this. Today is National Caregivers Day, and we also it's National Movie Day. It's not really, actually. It's just the movie show day.
Okay. Well, let's go to Andy Farnsworth and Rachel Wagner. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, so our movie this week is a movie called I Can Only Imagine 2, and I joked, should it be called I Can Also Only Imagine, or can I can no, but it's it's this, no. In this case, it's the sequel to the 2018 movie that turned out to be a pretty good box office hit, which is the story of the original, of course, is the song I Can Only Imagine by the band Mercy Me. This is now the sequel, and it actually continues the story of Mercy Me's lead vocalist Bart Millard. He's feeling the pressure to follow up that hit song, I Can Only Imagine, but at the same time, he's dealing with some health issues with his son. And then he meets a guy on the tour whose name is Tim Timmons, who's going through his own troubles. But then between the two of them, maybe they can come up with something from their trials that will help lift other people up. So this is very much of an uplifting. It's a faith-based movie, obviously, because this is a Christian rock band, Mercy Me. And although it's not a documentary, and it doesn't, as far as I could tell, it doesn't star any of the members of the band Mercy Me. Trace Adkins plays the band's manager.
Yeah, I think some of them are in the crowd at the Red Rock.
I
think that's
figured they're in the picture somewhere, but none of them were credited specifically. But it's really, it's about faith and fathers and sons and feelings and music, and really that.
So,
is it a musical, or is there just a lot of music in it, or both?
Well, they're a band, but it's
Yeah.
not a musical in that they're not singing to advance the story. They're singing songs. And, one of the Tim Timmons character, he's really a big fan of the origins of hymns and, like, what caused it to be written. And for him, he was a big fan of It Is Well With My Soul.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a little bit of that mixed in, and that's a great hymn. So it's really a lot about fathers and sons, and I really think it's going to connect a lot with dads.
And it continues the forgiveness arc of the first movie, which was what I think a lot of people really related to. About
Dennis
the first
Quaid
film.
was in the first, and he reappears in this one in some flashbacks.
Yeah.
I loved the first movie, actually. These are true stories, right?
Yeah, based on the lead singer Bart Millard. his life. And in this one, it actually involves him and his son. So that was kind of an interesting layer to see, because the first one was about him dealing with his father, and now this is about him being a father. So it's kind of a full circle.
Okay,
yes,
I don't want to cry. Is this a tearjerker?
Maybe.
A little bit.
I don't know. If you heard the song "Cats in the Cradle," would it make you cry?
Yes,
Greg?
yes.
Okay, then this one might get you too. Just a possibility. But it is. It really hits home. This idea of he doesn't want to be like his father, but then he finds himself saying, for completely different reasons, saying the same things to his son that his father said to him.
Yeah. And I think it touches on themes that anybody, you don't even have to be religious, I don't think, to appreciate the themes that are touched on in this film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I didn't know the song that it was based on, but it was a pretty song when I got to hear it. So,
nice.
I mean, it's definitely faith-based, but I don't think it's faith-based to an exclusionary
It's
point.
not preachy, I don't think.
Okay.
I agree.
All right. What's our question of the week?
Well, since we're talking about uplifting things, what is the most inspirational movie you've ever seen and why?
Okay, Holly.
You can play my clip.
And Jesus offers a vision to redeem it.
He's not the Messiah.
So I'm going to say The Chosen. Look, I'm just a big Jesus fan, so I find it inspirational in the literal religious sense of it inspires me. In fact, I have a daughter who had a couple of surgeries in the fall. She watched all of the episodes from all 5 seasons from twice.
Wow.
She's like, I love it. And then she did artwork where she drew basically Jonathan Rumi, but and she's really, really good. So I was super happy about that. But I love that show.
And that did play in theaters, so
it
technically
did. So
that
technically
does qualify.
Counts. Yeah, it counts.
That does qualify.
Technically, yeah. But I love that one.
All right, Greg, how about you?
Okay, this one is a little bit longer, but this one chokes me up every time I hear it. And you may not even recognize it, but just humor me for a minute here.
Have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor. But, Your Honor, are we limited on the size of the award? What I mean, sir, are we permitted to award an amount greater than the amount the plaintiff asked for?
You are. You're not bound by anything other than your good judgment based on the evidence.
When people ask me my favorite law movie, my favorite lawyer movie, they don't think of The Verdict. That was The Verdict with Paul Newman. And that was the scene at the end. He was down on his luck. He's been a lawyer that has had some problems, and he wins this case at the end. And the jury is like, I mean, the significance of that, I got to lay a little foundation here, is like he was asking for X, and the jury comes back and say, hey, are we limited in that? Can we actually give your client more than that? And I don't know. I just get choked up every time I watch that.
And that's inspired you to be a lawyer.
Well, it inspired me as a lawyer because I've actually, if you ever watched the closing argument in that movie, it's the most brilliant closing argument of any movie. And I've watched, To Kill a Mockingbird and the Matthew McConaughey movie, and they're great closings, but nothing compares to that one. And they're inspiration. I've actually used some of that in my own closings. Kind of.
I actually thought you were going to say 12 Angry Men for a second.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
All right, I want to hear from you guys. What is your favorite inspirational movie or most inspirational?
Well, the first one that I thought of was Hacksaw Ridge. Just an incredible story with Desmond Dawes, One More Lord, and what he does, and then also Prince of Egypt.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Ooh, Prince of Egypt is a good one too.
That movie.
All right, for me, I'm going back a couple of months. It's a Wonderful Life. Is there any more inspirational movie than It's a Wonderful Life? No one is poor who has friends.
It's certainly the most inspirational suicide narrative.
Ouch.
That's a fair point. But there's a movie that nobody saw 2 years ago, about 3 years ago. It was the best movie I thought I saw that year. It was called Radical. It's in Spanish. It stars Eugenio Derbez. It's about an elementary school teacher on the Mexican side of the U.S. border, and I just thought it was just amazing. I just thought it was inspirational and makes you want to be a teacher. You know, when you see a movie and you want to be the person that's in the movie, like, of course I want to be a Jedi, but I can't do that. But I could maybe be a teacher, and so I have others, but those are two that jumped out to my mind immediately.
I'm going to add one more because you inspired me. And this one is not religious, but it was super inspirational. And we actually talked with a guest recently because the astronaut in this show. It's A Million Miles Away. It's the movie about the first Hispanic Mexican-American astronaut. He applied 12 times to NASA before he was accepted. And he is speaking at Roots Tech. But that movie, I think it was made for Netflix, maybe if I'm not mistaken, or made for Amazon. It was just amazing and really inspirational.
Rachel, remind me of Hacksaw Ridge. I saw that movie. I don't remember which one it is.
So it's about Desmond Doss, who in World War II, he was a
conscientious
objector. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And he ended up saving all of these soldiers.
And it's based on.
And he never fired a gun, right? Because that was the whole point.
Right.
Yeah.
He had to go, but he didn't want to fire a weapon.
And he just kept saying, "One more Lord, and getting these soldiers off of this."
I thought you
ridge.
said one warlord.
And he kind of went
Lord.
from an unpopular soldier to an absolute hero at the end.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was an inspirational movie. Good job, Rachel.
All
and
right.
then there's always sports movies that are inspirational.
Oh, yeah, Rudy. Come on.
Okay, that's a good one.
Who's
That's
not inspired by Rudy?
Have you seen Underdog, the Kurt Warner story, Holly?
Nope.
You should
No.
watch that one.
This is the same director as I Can Only Imagine.
Oh, well, no wonder I thought that there
really?
was some connection.
Interesting.
It's really good. Underdog, the Kurt Warner story. And Holly Rowe, the sideline reporter for ESPN, her son's in that movie.
Oh.
She plays Kurt Warner's buddy. He plays Kurt
Aw.
Warner's buddy at the supermarket.
There's also a really good faith-based underrated film called All Saints with John Corbett. That one's worth hunting down.
Okay.
There you go. Well, we are going to turn things over to the KSL Movie Show after this. There may be something from President Trump if he ever gets to the podium, but I'd prefer to listen to the movie show myself. Stay with us on KSL News Radio.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio, I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. The new Utah law requiring 21-plus establishments to ID everyone that enters is getting a lot of complaints after just 2 months in effect. Now, the same representative that proposed the bill is looking to reverse it.
It will move us back for all establishments that serve alcohol, minus bars and taverns, to the previous standard of if an individual appears to be 35 or younger, then they will check for ID.
Representative Steve Ellison says the original bill turned into something that it wasn't what he wanted, so this bill would change it back and make some additions. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. We're waiting to hear from the president on today's Supreme Court ruling when justices struck down most of his tariffs. After learning about the ruling, President Trump called it a disgrace.
This was not only a critical part of the president's economic toolkit, but also his foreign diplomatic toolbox. I mean, the president was using tariffs to try and extract various concessions from other countries, not just around trade, but also around foreign policy. Also, the president using it to convince foreign companies to manufacture here in the U.S., as well as to make major investments. So this is a massive blow to the administration.
ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang reporting, and we will bring that to you live when it happens. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 38 points, the S&P is up 30 points. And coming up, isolated showers, KSL weather is next. KSL News time 11:02.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Are your investments in the right accounts? What's best, traditional or Roth? Are you receiving all available tax deductions? Are you paying as little in tax as you can? These are all questions you can't afford to get wrong. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth, and in many cases, it's not what you make, but it's what you keep that makes the real difference. Trajan Wealth and Trajan Tax work closely together exclusively. No more guessing about whether you should do a Roth conversion, or if maxing out your 401k is really the best option. Our nationally recognized fiduciary advisors and CPA team work in tandem to make sure your tax strategy works with your investment strategy. We'll even do your tax preparation. One team, one strategy. Isn't it time for a second opinion? Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
A warning on cryptocurrency kiosk scams from AARP Utah. Scammers are getting smarter, and Utahns are paying the price. Criminals are using cryptocurrency ATMs to commit fraud, stealing people's retirement savings and costing Utahns millions of dollars a year. Many scams start with an unexpected call, text, or email from someone claiming to be a trusted source, like your bank, a business you use, or even law enforcement. They'll tell you there's an urgent problem and instruct you to take cash to a crypto kiosk or ATM. They may even stay on the phone pressuring you to act fast and keep it secret. But once you feed cash into a crypto ATM, it's converted to cryptocurrency